I'm here today representing the team from Cheqd, and we did, funded by the Innovation Fora, a socio-technical exploration of verifiable AI with SSI, and SSI stands for self-sovereign identity. So I'll step through the process we use and what we produce from that process, and then hopefully be plenty of time for questions. So I'm an advisor at Cheqd. Cheqd is a Web3 network that provides infrastructure for trusted data exchange and payments. And we ran the Innovation Fora alongside a hackathon, which was funded separately and run separately. And we just used the opportunity to explore the social side as well as the technical implementation of AI. And this was our critical question, what we hoped to answer through the exploration. How should we design, build, and operate AI agents for healthy and trustworthy relationships with humans in the natural world? Huma mentioned before that Copilot itself said that human beings should develop better interpersonal skills in order to use AI, which seems kind of strange unless you think about the different types of intelligence, one of which, of course, is interpersonal. So this is the process we ended up running. Originally, we'd only planned one social design jam, and we ended up running 4 of them, 2 of which were with largely technical audiences at the Internet Identity Workshop and Trust over IP working group. But the other 2, there was a good blend of social scientists, anthropologists, sociologists, and as with Huma's project, Mark was very kind with his time and support in not only supporting the social design process, but also being a judge on the hackathon to see how this could be really implemented in practice. So the methodology is not rocket science, really. It was a very reflexive and agile process. You know, we changed things as circumstances dictated. But we were really clear on the goal and outputs. Each iteration included analysis of the feedback and adjustment of the persona that we were using. Various of Mark's comments today have been about the research, you know, the diversity of the research group, and we're practitioners, so we've got workarounds for that, and we use persona to ensure that, like, real life, we think about the problem from the perspective of a kind of regular human who's not an expert in any way and is trying to get some stuff done in their life. And all the events were very participatory. We use these 4 methods, and there is an experience report which details how we did this, with design thinking, you know, human-centered design, heavy use of persona, design fiction and storytelling, which was largely used in the kind of landscaping workshop which we kicked off with. And then this method of design jamming, which is essentially a brainstorming participatory process, again, from product design. So reflections on the process. It did work pretty well, and I think maybe a few of you were participants in the 4th one at the Expert Fellows meeting, and it was a slightly different approach to thinking around this thorny subject. I guess the key thing, the observation is there, you know, we talk about humans in the loop for trustworthiness, but really for healthy relationships, You need humans everywhere. It needs to be a continual dialogue throughout the design, development and operational phase of your product delivery. Use of AI throughout the project. I mean, we use ChatGPT, we use Notion AI, and the kind of success of the persona approach made us think that maybe we could use agents as representatives of systems, of personas and customer segments, of other interests, communities of interest, in the design process and development process. I mean, you have co-development, why not have the customer as well as two engineers? Why not have the customer sitting next to you, or even a representative of the system saying, in a social design process, saying we can't do that, you can either have blue or red, you can't have purple on that button. And one of the key things that came out was this, we need to expand our thinking beyond socio-technical to include the natural world. Eco-socio-technical, a bit of a mouthful, but that consideration came through very strongly and almost organically from participants in that initial landscaping workshop, and then again throughout the process. And there was lots of feedback and results from trying this stuff out that could be used today in the heat of product development, which is perfect. That's what we wanted. We wanted people to be able to actually use the stuff when they're trying to ship product, as opposed to it being one of there's over 200 different sets of kind of AI rules and design principles. So you can access the experience reports here on the Cheqd website. Now to the product. So the goal was to create relationship guides for AI agents and their creators with the themes of authenticity, authorization and authority. A lot of my work is in the kind of decentralized digital trust world in communities like DIF and Trust over IP. And these are the key themes. We're trying to prove provenance or verify humanity and so on and so forth. And we ended up with two guides, one that's human-centric, really useful if you've got human users of your system, if it's a chatbot or it's a B2C product, or it's something like a generative AI product, where AI agents are really the tools or the servants of the humans. But then, and I would say that human-centric guide is pretty much global north, if I want to be crude about it. Whereas the entangled relationship guide, which drew on things like indigenous wisdom, like environmental science, post-humanist thinking about our relationships with the natural world and with machines and non-human entities. That's better fitted if you're designing for systems that are industrial IoT, for example, obviously environmental applications, or more broadly speaking, the global south. I drew a lot of thinking from some research that's been done in South America. There's a book called Designs for the Pluriverse, which just really explodes your thinking about this stuff. And given the environmental impact of AI and data and all that kind of thing, given the potential for AI to assist with climate adaptation and so forth, it was really one of the best things about this exploration that we landed up with. The two guides, these images are generated by Notion.
You've got 1 minute, Nicky.
They've got 7 facets each, and and they won't be a surprise to psychologists and sociologists in the room. They reflect the cultural perspective, I would say, of each that I mentioned before. And there were some really nice, clear examples from the hackathon, and you can watch the demo day there, where folks are using SSI to support those more trustworthy relationships, actually making it happen today. And again, you can access those relationship guides on the Cheqd website. And that's it. Thoughts or questions?